Two ends of the Democratic Party, at least in some ways, are Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Senator Joe Manchin, and they have been feuding for several months now. It sort of picked up in December of last year with Manchin saying of her in an incredibly condescending way, "I guess she put the dagger stare on me. I don't know the young lady. I really don't, the young lady. I never met her. I'm understanding she's not that active with her bills or in committee. She's more active on Twitter than anything else." And that is such an insane way to characterize, of all people in Congress, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, that she's not busy in either legislation or committees. But he goes on to say, to differentiate himself from her, since they come from very different parts of the party, "We're not gonna defund the police. We're not for the new Green Deal, because why would a US senator know the name of something that we've been talking about nationally for a couple of years now? That's not going to happen. We're not for Medicare for all. We can't even pay for Medicare for some." Here, by the way, is the picture that he'd been referring to with the daggers, which I just love. It reminds me of Greta Thunberg with Trump at that international summit. But anyway, she responded by saying, "I find it amusing when politicians try to diminish the seriousness of our policy work, movement organizing, and grassroots fundraising to," she just tweets, "as though serious politics is only done by begging corporate CEOs for money through wax-sealed envelopes delivered by Raven," which I think is a tweet that was personally crafted specifically for me, or at least that's how I received it. But anyway, so they've been disagreeing, and there are arguments made in defense of Joe Manchin that this is what he has to do, or that AOC, they may not be as explicit in saying she's just a big tweeter and that's it. She's not actually popular. People aren't into her. It's just a social media thing. So we're gonna have some polling data on that, Brett, but I wanna get your thoughts first.
It's just so strange to me that he doesn't understand what politics is. And he's got such weird politics right now. That's what's very frustrating. I know these are old tweets, but like the politics he is waging right now is insane. He's getting outflanked by the former governor, or the current governor of Wisconsin, because he won't advocate for a $15 an hour minimum wage. And he is just blocking the things that will help people. Mm-hmm. And there's no real good argument for it, just from a political standpoint. It doesn't make sense. Whereas her politics that she is offering as a counterpoint to these things that are coming from a place of someone who hasn't been in the Senate, insulated this from reality for this long. Someone who came from as the next generation of politician who looks at this generation and doesn't have that same, "oh, well, they know better" approach to things. Mm-hmm. Is pointing out and saying, actually, you guys don't know better. We know better because we're living in it every single day. We see the consequences of the failures of our government. And now it's really exposed. This is the part of the experiment where we get to see, what if the Democrats do have power and have no excuse like they did during the Obama era, where there's a recount and Ted Kennedy dies and all that stuff, where they can and they have they might hide behind not knowing that the Republicans were that devoid of integrity and honesty. Now you have everything set down, so we can look at it and say, no, it isn't a mistake. They're just shooting themselves in the foot, or pretending or flopping and saying, "Oh, I was fouled. I tripped over the 3-yard line." It's like, no, that's just paint, man. You have no excuse not to do this. Yet you're saying, "Oh my God, there's other things out there we don't want." But no, even the people in your state, guaranteed, if they were given the option of voting on a $15 an hour minimum wage, they would vote for it. How do I know? Totally. You ask them. There's so many things that so many Americans agree with that the Senate and the House refuses to do for no good reason.
I agree. Largely, they don't have those excuses, except that he is sort of providing it. Like, if they're shooting themselves in the foot, then plausibly Manchin's the gun, the parliamentarian is the bullet. I guess the foot is all of Biden's very clear promises. They shouldn't have any of these excuses, particularly in this bill where they don't need any of the Republicans to sign on. And yet, what do you know? They still are not going to accomplish much. And so that is incredibly frustrating.
They're gonna accomplish A lot.
They're going to pass a COVID aid bill that we've been waiting for months and months and months and months and months, that should have been passed long before the Democrats actually took over, and that should be the easiest thing imaginable to actually do. And things that are totally unilaterally under Biden's control, he's not doing. Even if objectively he should do it because he says he supports these things. For instance, an executive order to cancel student loan debt. He's promised he'll do it. He says he supports it. He could do it, but he's not doing it. Both because of the promises, or even to offset some of the other things you're not able to deliver right now, like raising the minimum wage. You could at least do this to send a signal to those who voted for you that, sure, we're running into some roadblocks, but I'm gonna have your back. He's not doing things that Manchin can't stop, that the parliamentarian hasn't even advised against. And that's part of the frustration.
Well, they're gonna accomplish so much compared to what they normally accomplish. That's
sure
the point.
When they didn't have.
It's like,
yes, they will.
But that's my point. Is like they're going to accomplish so much, and it's probably going to be one or two things. And the only reason it's going to feel like a lot in retrospect is because they usually accomplish zero or negative things. That's it.
No, I get it. But like, there's a comment on Twitch right now that's like, it's been 2 months. He has 4 years. Yeah, and generally, when do presidents generally get the most done? In the latter year or two. Yeah, no, so this is when we need to do it. The midterms are going to be devastating. There's gonna be even less possibility of getting anything done. And by the way, that's once we've hit the midterms and we're past it, and they've probably lost control of literally everything. In the run up to it, they will use the midterms as an excuse to not do anything. I don't think most people, I can't speak for any individual, maybe haven't super closely followed American politics. There is like 10 minutes where there's not some massive excuse to not do anything, and we cannot afford to lose that.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.